All right, today we're jumping into a really thought-provoking piece by Tiziana Terranova called Red Stack Attack. It tackles this massive question. What if the very code that runs, well, everything around us could be rewritten for a totally different goal?
Think about it for a second. It's a question you probably deal with every single day, maybe without even realizing it. You pull out your phone, you scroll through your feed, you search for something online, but who or what is deciding what you see? What's that invisible hand curating your entire experience? Well, the answer, as you probably guessed, is algorithms.
Now, you've probably heard of some of the heavy hitters, right? Like Google's PageRank that sorts all your search results, or Facebook's EdgeRank that decides what's at the top of your newsfeed. But seriously, our digital lives are just constantly being shaped by countless others. These invisible mathematical formulas are shaping our reality, from the movies Netflix suggests to us, all the way to which opinions get amplified online.
And you know what? It's not just about our screens anymore. It goes way, way beyond that. As Terranova points out, these algorithms, these computational techniques, they're basically woven into the fabric of everything. They're helping to plan our cities, they're driving financial speculation, they're even playing a role in who we date. They become this kind of quiet, invisible operating system for our entire world.
Okay, so how in the world did we get here? How did these, abstract sets of instructions become so incredibly powerful? Well, to really get a handle on that, Terranova says we need to look at them through a very specific lens, the lens of capital.
So for this, we actually need to pull in a classic idea from Karl Marx, the concept of fixed capital. The easiest way to think about it is like the machinery in an old factory. It's not just a bunch of metal and gears, right? It's really the embodiment of all our collective knowledge, all our skills, what Marx called the social brain. All of that is captured and put to work in that machine.
Okay, so why does that matter? Because it completely reframes how we look at algorithms. From the perspective of capital, an algorithm isn't some brand new magical invention. Nope. It's just the 21st century version of that factory machine, a super efficient tool that's designed to soak up our social knowledge and turn it into value. And this comparison here just nails the evolution perfectly. Think about it. The old industrial machine was physical, right? A big assembly line where human workers were the conscious linkages connecting the dots. But today's digital machine, it's all electrocomputational. It's spread out across these huge networks, and we, the users, we become what Terranova calls quasi-automatic relays. We're the ones constantly passing information through the system, often without even thinking about it.
So this brings us to the really crucial point, which is a huge paradox. All this incredible automation, it should be freeing us up, right? It should be creating more wealth and more leisure time for everybody. But inside a capitalist system, all that disposable time that's released by automation, it just ends up producing more poverty and stress. Exactly the opposite of the wealth and leisure it's supposed to create.
All right, so if algorithms are the new machines, what's the giant global factory they're all operating inside? Answering that question means we have to zoom out and look at the bigger picture.
And to help us see that bigger picture, we're going to borrow a concept from political theorist Benjamin Bratton. He has a name for this entire planet-spanning computational system we're living in. He calls it the stack.
Now, when he says the stack, he's talking about a full-on megastructure, a whole new way of organizing the planet. And it's really important to get this. It is not just the internet. It's a series of interlocking layers stacked vertically that run from the minerals and energy in the earth all the way up to you and me, the users.
Just take a look at how these layers are broken down. Right at the bottom, you've got the earth layer. That's the raw energy, the minerals, the stuff that powers everything. On top of that, you have the cloud. That's the physical stuff, the data centers, the fiber optic cables. Then it moves up through the city and address layers, which organize our physical spaces, until you get to the interface, our screens, our apps, and then right at the very top is us, the user. We are all, right now, living inside the stack.
So who's in charge of this thing? Well, that's the tricky part. It's not one single group. It's this messy, complex mashup of governments, huge international bodies like the IMF, and of course, massive tech companies like Google and Facebook. And they're all constantly battling for control and influence inside this new global territory.
So that's pretty much the diagnosis of where we're at right now. But this is where Terranova's work gets really, really radical, because it asks a simple but powerful question. Hey, if this stack was built by someone, couldn't we build a different one?
And that is the core idea right there, the red stack. It's a proposal to imagine and then build a completely new technological infrastructure, a new stack designed not to accumulate profit for a few, but for the common good of everyone.
So where would you even begin building something like that? Well, the foundation of this new stack starts with maybe the most powerful tool we have, money itself.
Now, the goal here is not just to create another cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. It's much bigger. It's about creating what's called the money of the common. Think of it as a virtual currency designed specifically to fund social projects, things that benefit everyone, like education, healthcare, what the source calls common fare. The whole point is that its code would be built to encourage cooperation and actually pull money out of those speculative, profit-driven loops.
Okay, so once you have that financial foundation, the next layer up is all about reimagining the social networks we use every single day.
The proposal is essentially to hijack social networks, to take them back. So instead of being these perfectly engineered machines for getting clicks and selling our data, they could become platforms for global learning. I mean, just imagine a social network that wasn't designed to sell you stuff, but was instead built to help us learn new things, connect in meaningful ways, and actually organize cooperation on a massive global scale.
And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most intimate layer of all, the one where technology literally meets our bodies. Terranova has a name for this: biohypermedia.
We're talking about the world of smartphones, apps, the whole universe of computing that's all around us. The idea behind the Red Stack is to reclaim that connection between our bodies and our devices for a different purpose. And check out these examples. These aren't apps for ordering a pizza or finding the fastest route to work. These are what the source calls imaginary apps, designed for real political action. Like an app that could help migrants find safe passage past border controls. Or one that you could point at a product in a store, and it would show you the level of exploitation involved in making it. Pretty powerful stuff.
So let's recap. A new kind of money, new kinds of social networks, new kinds of apps. I know, it might sound a little bit like a far-off utopia, but that's actually not the point at all.
Terranova is really clear about this. The Red Stack is not some finished, perfect blueprint. It's a program. It's basically a call to action for coders, for activists, for designers, for all of us, really, to start inventing a totally new kind of algorithm. Social algorithms that are designed from the ground up to build and support the common good.
And really, that leaves us with this one final, massive question. We see every day the incredible, world-shaping power of technology when it's aimed at creating profit. But what could happen if we aimed all that power, all that ingenuity, in a completely different direction? What if technology's #1 goal wasn't profit, but the common good?